Hold on. Let me script the video real quick. Actually, never mind. I speak English fluently, is my native tongue. I speak French because I was forced to learn it against my will at school. I did a French school. I started when I was 4, I think. I did a francisation, which is like a Francisization, I guess. And I don't know, it was like an hour a day or something. Or a few times a week I'd go and just learn French. And I started kindergarten in French. And then I did all the way up to grade 6, all at the same French school. And then grade 7 I was here in Chad for half of it. And then I was homeschooled. I don't remember. Anyway, I did most of my school in French. I've done most of my later high school though in English. I do a homeschool program, and so I speak French. French to me, I don't consider it like a language that I learned. Like, I'm not going to give you advice on how to learn languages based on me learning French because it was like institutionalized, if that makes sense. And then I can read and write very, very well, I like to think, in English. So we'll give me C2 on the CEFR scale. I think it's what it is in English. Let's give me C1. Yeah, my French grammar isn't superb because it was always my least favorite subject in school. Like, it was everyone's least favorite subject. No one wanted to learn it, but we always did. But like, I can never get the terminaison, the conjugation. Is that what you say? Like the conjugations, right? I can never get those right in French. I would just kind of guess and kind of wing it, which isn't great. But anyway, I'll say C1 in French, and then I've been in Chad, in the south of Chad, since March of 25, so a year and some. And I've been learning here where they speak Sara Majingai here, which is the local language, is what they speak here. And I didn't really start like actually trying to learn it until a few months into being here. And I've taken like entire months off on purpose and because of travel and just because I didn't feel like it sometimes. Basically, I've spent maybe like an entire year or 13 months of actively studying it at least almost every day. And I'll say I'm like B1 at least because I can do most things in Sara, but it's like this morning I was asking a friend of mine about, he was talking about how the high school diploma things. He was talking about the exams, like the final exams for school. And I asked him some question about how the something worked. I can't remember what it was. Something to do with the grading system. And he was explaining what the grading system was to me, but it was in Sara, right? And I kind of got most of it. I didn't get all of it, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't feel super great after that because the thing with learning languages is some days you're on fire and everything is great and you feel fully fluent, and then other days you don't get anything. And you start questioning everything, and it's so frustrating. But I'm not quite at B2 independent user because if I were, I would feel fluent, like I'd feel confident, and I don't necessarily feel confident. Whereas saying, okay, yeah, so I'm at least B1 because I can handle like every day. Like I could spend the entire day in Sara and me say what I wanted to say to varying levels of correctness. I could, like when someone speaks to me clearly and semi-slowly-ish kind of, if they speak to me like naturally but not overly fast, I can understand what they're saying. I might have to get them to re-say something once or twice, but I'm definitely not independent user level. And the thing with the CEFR scale is that like it technically includes reading and writing, but no one here can read and write in it anyway. So like I've spent a lot of time reading like the Bible in it and whatever dictionary things. So I can actually read it a lot better than a lot of the natives can just because they don't learn how to read it. So if you want to get technical about it, I'm not even past A1, maybe A2, I don't know. Anyway, and so I speak that B1 pushing towards B2, and I've also for the past 2 or 3 weeks started learning Spanish because I thought, why not? And I felt like I needed, because in Sara there are like so few resources, it kind of drives you insane. I have a dictionary but this big by Pierre Palaye, I think. It was made in like 1980 some. Honestly, the best resource I have. Apparently they're out of print and they're like really hard to get. I have that, and then I have like a condensed online version one that I found online. People, and then like I said, there's the Bible, the full Bible that just came out a few months ago, the audio Bible, and then there's like a few like things made by missionaries, like little like gospel tracts kind of things. Basically not a whole lot. And so my whole strategy has revolved entirely around, I don't even know what it's revolved around. I've changed strategy a few times because this is the first language that I've like decided to learn, right? This is like my first language learning experience. And the first one they say is always when you're trying to figure out how do you learn languages. And where I'm at now is that with Sara, basically, there's no like online media or anything. Like I can't like go and watch podcasts or listen to like B1 level tutorials or anything. So right now I'm making flashcards on Anki. I have the dictionary thing. I just go through and eventually, I don't know, memorize the whole dictionary, maybe that'd be kind of cool. But I'm basically just going through it, learning a bunch of adjectives, a bunch of phrases and idioms and like random things that people say. So I'll put like the English or the French sentence on the front of the card, and then the other side is the Sara version. So like I read it in English and then I know what it is. And then the goal is I have to try and think of how would I say that in Sara. And it works pretty well. That's what I've been doing. And so I've been doing, so Anki flashcards is the first thing. I can't get audio. Like, I could ask a native to sit down with me and like record audio for everything, but that would take forever. Like literally forever. So, and the thing with tones, it's a tonal language as well. And so there's so many things that don't make any sense. And they don't see it as tones, they see it as like separate words. So like so there's a word for this, it's like a rice porridge kind of thing with sugar in it. And it's B-I-Y and then like an A, but it's like a nasally A, so there's like a squiggly thing underneath the A. And it either goes up or down, I can't even remember. Bien. I think it goes up. So bien. I can't even remember. And then the other one, it either goes up or down, and then the other one. So like if the porridge thing goes up, the one that goes down means goat. And so like if I said I was drinking goat, people know I understand I meant that I was drinking the porridge. So that isn't a huge deal. But then there's words like mang, which to me is one word with 4 different tones, but they consider it like 4 different words. There's like one of them means tobacco, another one means to buy, another one means a cap, and then mbang, like with a B in between the M and A, means like the sun, chief, and something else I can't even, like basically learning the tones has been difficult. And then in the Anki flashcards, getting tones on, like getting the accents onto the letters is painstaking, and so that's been a challenge. Sometimes I just don't do it and then hope people understand me and my memorized sentence. But anyway, I've been doing that. I'm also trying to talk it as much as I can, because I'm at the point now where I can say things. And I think probably the best way to improve now is to just speaking it and listening to people and talking with them. And so I'm doing my best to like I said, like I was talking to the friend earlier about his school system and everything. And so that's what I've been working on quite a bit. Recently, it's what I've been focusing on. And so so basically, the thing with Spanish, right, that's a whole lot easier to do, is that there's a million resources, so it's not difficult to learn at all. Like, I don't find it difficult. And there's also here, the thing is, right, everyone here speaks Sara. There's like a bunch of dialects, but that's the main one, right? People learn French in school, and no one likes French, no one speaks it per se. Like, unless you've had higher education and have worked a job in the workplace, people don't really speak French well, if that makes sense. So a lot of guys do, but like most people that you talk to don't like speaking French. And me, as someone who's spoken French forever, when I speak to them in French, I can tell that they're not speaking French, they're like saying the words that they were taught to say, if that makes sense. And so basically, and then the people my age all really don't speak French. And I don't know if it's because they don't use it, they only ever use it at school, or what the issue is, but basically, there's the whole stress of like, no one here speaks English. Everyone wants to learn English, but no one speaks it. And then you can get by in French for basic communication, but it's like to actually get to know people, you have to learn their language. And so there's like this whole stress of not really being able to talk to anyone. And so then you're stressed to learn the language, but then like you're stressed. I don't know, apparently stress is good for learning, apparently, like just a bit of it. Anyway, my point was with Spanish, there is no stress. Like I have no reason to learn Spanish per se. I'm learning it really just to prove to myself that I can learn languages fairly easily. That's kind of the goal. And so far it's been working. And so in Spanish, my focus has been Anki flashcards. For Spanish, I just downloaded ones that I could find online that came with audio and pictures, because I didn't feel like making my own ones. And if they come pre-made, I mean, that's great. Plus with the audio, I can learn, like, I can get the right pronunciation. And so I do the flashcards every day. I do a lot of reading. I have this really cool book. It's made by Easy Read, Think and Read, something about Spanish, right? And it'll have like this article in Spanish, but then it'll highlight a bunch of important words and have like the English translation on the side. And so I can read the Spanish thing, and if there's a word that I can't tell what it is, I can just look up what it is in English and then keep reading as I know what it is. And they say reading is one of the best ways to learn languages. And so reading, flashcards. I also watch a lot of like YouTube videos on either how to learn Spanish, or like a podcast in a beginner level Spanish, or just media that I like consuming in English but in Spanish. So that way it's like I watch a lot of like music producing tutorials in Spanish, and it's interesting because it's like it's stuff that I would watch anyway, and I'm learning things sort of, but then simply listening to it in Spanish, you pick up a lot of words and you get a feel for like the natural rhythm of the language, because textbook Spanish, like textbook English, isn't what people speak, right? And so the YouTube videos things are great because I like the format where it's like the person says a word in English, then they say it in Spanish, then they say a phrase in English and phrase in Spanish, but like slowly, because that way I can just learn what the phrase is, and then I just listen to that on repeat kind of a thing. Anyway, I find that really helpful. And so for Spanish, that's really all I've been doing, and I think it's probably the most effective thing. The only effective thing that I'm not doing is a language tutor, but my mother speaks Spanish like really well, so I don't really need to hire a language tutor per se. Like if I ever have a question, I can just ask her, and I can like try and talk to her in Spanish. So, but I don't like, but yeah, like if I were really serious and committed to this, I would hire someone or get someone who spoke Spanish, or like a native Spanish speaker, to sit down with me like an hour once or twice a week, and specifically grind in Spanish. But I'm not doing that right now, and I've been doing, I think, fairly well. And since Spanish, like, it's not tonal, it's a lot like English compared to Saramanjingan, and so it's been a lot less of a headache, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. But yeah, I think what's been most effective for me right now has been the Anki flashcards, because the SRS spaced repetition system is really good for getting you to memorize things with like the least amount of effort. Then you add the audio so you can hear the words, and then pictures as well if that helps. And then reading is great. But again, like in Sara, I have the Bible, and it's just not beginner level stuff, you know what I mean? But I do my best to read it in Sara. And in Spanish, I have a lot of easy Spanish reads, so that's really helpful. But yeah, reading, listening to media, different types of media, and then flashcards from Anki or like a similar SRS flashcard system. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. And then yeah, if you want to get a tutor, that's probably really helpful as well. I can imagine, like if you're sitting down speaking to a person in the language about the language to learn the language, that's probably really, really helpful and really effective. So yeah, thank you.